Hello students, welcome to Dr. Savita GOEL'S English classes. Today I'll explain the poem The World is Too Much with Us, written by William Wordsworth. As you already know, William Wordsworth was one of the leading figures of Romantic movement. He was left an orphan at the age of 13 and was brought up by an uncle. He started his poetic career in 1793. It was the publication of the lyrical ballads in 1798 which finally heralded Romanticism. The World is Too Much with Us is a sonnet and was published in 1807. He wrote this poem during the first industrial revolution, a period of technological and mechanical innovation spanning the mid 18th and early 19th century that totally transformed the life of the people. The poem describes mankind's relationship with nature in terms of loss. That relationship once flourished, but now, due to the impacts of industrialization, man has lost the ability to connect, to appreciate and celebrate and find serenity in the lap of nature. Now, let me explain the poem. First, I'll read lines number 1 to 4 and then I'll explain these lines. The lines are: the world is too much with us, late and soon, getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our hearts away, a sordid boon. The first line of the poem, the world is too much with us, means that people are too much involved in the worldly and materialistic affairs of life. Wordsworth, in this phrase, deplores the extreme materialism and consequent spiritual degradation of his times. Men are always blindly chasing worldly pleasures and success. All the time they are busy earning money, hoarding it or squandering it. Thus, all their activities gyrate around one thing, that is money. People are too much engrossed in the pursuit of wealth and pleasures, and in this never-ending process they waste their valuable time and energy, their noble and spiritual powers. In this mad race for money, they have very little time and absolutely no desire to admire or even cast a glance at the beauty of nature or communicate with nature and acquire pleasure from it. Wordsworth firmly believes that only this rapture or happiness got from nature is ours. Nothing in the world can be called as ours. Nothing is eternal. The wealth and the material joys are transient, but the delight we derive looking at nature is eternal. No one can snatch this pleasure from us. In the fourth line, Wordsworth asserts that men have grown heartless. They have given their hearts a sordid, that is, an unworthy, base, or dirty boon. This means that they have sold their hearts to worldly pleasures and wealth. People have given themselves up, heart and soul, to the pursuit of trivial material prosperity. They have sold their hearts in exchange of material pleasures and wealth. This is an extremely absurd or inane exchange that men have made. Now I'll read lines number 5 to 8 of the poem. The lines are this sea that bears her bosom to the moon, the winds that will be howling all the hours and are upgathered now like sleeping flowers. For this, for everything, we are out of tune. In these lines, Wordsworth describes the beautiful, enchanting natural landscape. Here, the sea and the moon are personified. Sea is personified as a charming lady and moon as her lover. Sea looks like a beloved who bears her bosom so that her lover, moon, can admire her beauty. Wordsworth says that men do not have feelings or emotions for the enticing sight of the moonlight falling on the surface of the sea. They do not have time to listen to the pleasant natural sound of wind, which makes tumultuous sound during the day, but sleep like flowers at night. The poet says that for these alluring sights of nature and for everything, we are out of tune. Out of tune means that men are not in harmony with nature. That is, there is no synchrony between men and nature. Their minds are so much obsessed with material gains that they fail to appreciate the lovely aspects of nature. The poet regrets the fact that excessive materialistic pursuits have made men blind towards the beautiful, soothing nature. Now I'll read lines number 9 to 14 and then explain these lines. The lines are: it moves us not, great God. I'd rather be a pagan suckled in creed outworn. So might I, standing on this pleasant lea, have glimpses that would make me less forlorn, have sight of Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton blow his wreathed horn. In these lines, William Wordsworth says that people are not touched or moved by the beautiful objects of nature. So he wishes to be a pagan. Pagan means a follower of ancient religion who used to worship nature as God. The poet wants to be nurtured in an outdated creed of paganism who believed that gods and goddesses exist in nature. As a pagan, he would lead a simple life in the lap of nature. He would be away from the hustle and bustle of life, and he would get an opportunity to stand on a pleasant meadow or grassland and would enjoy the beautiful, alluring, enchanting nature from there, and then he would communicate with nature and feel less lonely. For Wordsworth, nature is not inanimate, it is a living and organic entity. It has a personality, a life of its own. Man can share his feelings with nature and feel less lonely. As a pagan who is pure, simple, and innocent, he would get an opportunity of witnessing the sights of pagan gods like Proteus, the sea god rising from the sea, and Triton, an attendant of sea god, blowing his adorned conch shell. The poet prefers to be a pagan with his keen sensitiveness to the mysteries and beauty of nature than to lead a pseudo-enlightened life of materialism. In other words, he prefers paganism to excessive materialism. This poem, "The World is Too Much with Us," amply portrays Wordsworth's attitude to nature. His treatment of nature is original and unique. For him, nature is alive and sentient. It has a life of its own. It possesses a soul, a conscious existence, an ability to feel joy and love. Wordsworth believes that the mind of man is animated by the same spirit which informs all natural phenomena. Hence, there is a pre-existing harmony between the mind of man and nature, which enables nature to communicate her own thoughts to man, and man to grasp and seize them and to contemplate upon them until an inseparable bond between the two, that is, the nature and man, is established. The external beauty of nature is only a manifestation of the all-pervasive divine spirit. And so, by contemplation of nature and in communication with her, man can realize this divine spirit. As there is a pre-existing harmony between man and the mind and his mind, and between nature, man can learn much from nature if only he has a willing heart ready to receive the benefits of nature. Nature offers joy and peace to all those who seek shelter in her bosom. Such was the abiding faith of Wordsworth. For him, nature is animated by the principles of joy, and his poetry is great because of the power with which he feels joy. For Wordsworth, nature is the best teacher, and her discipline and education will enable men to know and receive all that is good and pure in life. Wordsworth's love of nature is also reflected in his accurate and loving description of nature. His power of observation was very acute, and he had the gift of expressing in words the most inexpressible beauty of nature. This is all for today.